Hi, this is Cheryl Peterson from the Community of Christ Scientist with a Christian Science Bible study read from the New International Version of the Bible, copyrighted by Biblica, and from 21st Century Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures, a modern version of Mary Baker Eddy's Science and Health, copyrighted by Cheryl Peterson. The subject is Christian Science. Golden text is from Romans. Oh, the depth of the riches of the wisdom and knowledge of God! How unsearchable his judgments and his paths beyond tracing out! Who has known the mind of the Lord? Who has been his counselor? Who has ever given to God that God should repay him? For from him and through him and for him are all things. To him be the glory forever. Amen. Isaiah. The moon will shine like the sun, and the sunlight will be 7 times brighter, like the light of 7 full days, when the Lord binds up the bruises of his people and heals the wounds he inflicted. See, the name of the Lord comes from afar, with burning anger and dense clouds of smoke. His lips are full of wrath, and his tongue is a consuming fire. His breath is like a rushing torrent, rising up to the neck. He shakes the nations in the sieve of destruction. He places in the jaws of the peoples a bit that leads them astray. And you will sing as on the night you celebrate a holy festival. Your hearts will rejoice as when people playing pipes go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the rock of Israel. The Lord will cause people to hear his majestic voice, and will make them see his arm coming down with raging anger and consuming fire, with cloudburst, thunderstorm, and hail. The voice of the Lord will shatter Assyria. With his rod he will strike them down. 21st Century Science and Health. If Christian Science dishonors human belief, it honors spiritual understanding and the one mind. A correct view of Christian Science and of its application includes vastly more than can be seen at first. Many works on metaphysics do not recognize the power of mind as the Messiah, leaving the grand point untouched. We want to carry the day against time-based enemies, even to the extinction of all belief in materialism, evil, disease, and death. Pure metaphysics insist on the fact that God is all. Therefore, temporal substance is nothing but an image in human mind. Human personalities have material bodies, but God is spirit, love. Divine science strongly emphasizes the thought that God is not bodily, but bodiless, yet personal. The words person and personal need to be employed correctly when applied to God. We can refer to God as infinite person, but our conception of divinity becomes confused and erroneous when deity is thought to reflect human personalities. An infinite person in a finite personality is impossible. The term individuality is also open to debate. An individual may be one of a series or one of many, as an individual person or an individual car, whereas God is one, not one of a series, but one alone and without an equal. Human language can repeat only an infinitesimal part of what exists. God is spirit. Therefore, the language of spirit must be and is spiritual. Divine science attaches no physical characters and significance to the supreme being and manifestation. Only human beings attach physicality to spirit. God's essential language is spoken of in the last chapter of Mark's Gospel as the new tongue, the spiritual meaning of which is attained through the signs that accompanied it. The pure language of spirit is more than eyes have seen or ears have heard. Jesus taught spirituality by parables and stories. As a student of the divine, Jesus unfolded God to us, illustrating and demonstrating life and truth by his power over the disorders. Mark. Now John's disciples and the Pharisees were fasting. Some people came and asked Jesus, "How is it that John's disciples and the disciples of the Pharisees are fasting, but yours are not?" Jesus answered, "How can the guest of the bridegroom fast while he is with them? They cannot, so long as they have him with them. But the time will come when the bridegroom will be taken from them, and on that day they will fast. No one sews a patch of unshrunk cloth on an old garment. Otherwise the new piece will pull away from the old, making the tear worse. And no one pours new wine into old wineskins. Otherwise the wine will burst the skins, and both the wine and the wineskins will be ruined. No, they pour new wine into new wineskins." 21st Century Science and Health. Surrounded by imperfection, perfection is seen and acknowledged only by degrees. People slowly work toward perfection. How long it must be before we arrive at the demonstration of scientific being, no person knows, not even the Son, but only the Father. The false claim of error continues its delusions until the goal of goodness is steadfastly earned and won. Already the shadow of God's right hand rests on the hour. For those of you who know how to interpret the appearance of the sky, the physical sign, how much better is it to discern the mental sign? Spiritual interpretation removes spiritual unawareness and ill health by overcoming the thoughts which produce them, and by understanding the spiritual idea which corrects and replaces them. Jesus' mission was to reveal the truth of spiritual reality to all humankind, even to the hearts which rejected them. Instinct is better than misguided reason, even as nature declares. The violet lifts her blue eye to greet the early spring. Tree leaves clap their hands in the wind. The snowbird sings while securing a summer residence, never minding wet, cold feet. Human beings, on the other hand, overlook instinct and make things difficult. Earth's atmosphere is kinder than the atmosphere of human mind, kinder than the milieu crowded with thoughts of perfectionisms, flus and allergies, sunspots, contagion, and sickness are produced solely by human theories. Human mind procreates its own phenomena and then credits them to something else, like a kitten glancing into the mirror at itself and thinking it sees another kitten. Asceticism can take form in the practice of extreme self-denial, self-mortification, rigorous abstinence, or exceedingly strict religious exercises, none of which guarantee growth in grace or spirituality. The mistake of thinking that either fasting or feasting makes us better morally or physically is one of the fruits of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, concerning which God said, "You must not eat from." Human mind forms all conditions of the human body and controls the organs, bones, genes, cells, blood, etc., as directly as the determination or will moves the hand to lift a glass of water. When numbers have been divided according to a fixed rule, the answer is unquestionable. The scientific test I have made concerning the effects of truth upon the sick are just as unquestionable. The counterfact relative to any disease is required for the cure. Truth spoken and realized is designed to disprove and destroy error and sin. Why shouldn't truth also destroy sickness? The divine metaphysics of spiritual science, like the method in mathematics, proves the rule by inversion. 11 plus 3 is 14, And 14 minus 3 is 11. There is no pain in truth, and no truth in pain, no temporal sensations in mind, and no mind in temporal sensations, no illusion in mind, and no mind in illusion, no mortality in life, and no life in mortality, no matter in good, and no good in matter. Conventional thinking classes both evil and good together as mind. To be understood, I call sick and sinful humanity human mind, meaning by this term the fleshly turmoil opposing spirit. The human mind and evil resist divine mind, or truth and good. The spiritually unscientific definition of mind is based on the evidence of the physical senses, which makes minds many and calls mind both human and divine. In science, mind is one, including noumenon and phenomena, God and mind's thoughts. Human mind is a grammatical error in language and involves an improper use of the word mind. As mind is spiritual, the phrase human mind implies something untrue and therefore unreal. In this teaching of divine science, the phrases human mind, human energy, chemically based mind, mortal or materialistic mind, are meant to designate that which has no real existence. Certainly, if better words or phrases existed today, they would be used. In expressing the new tongue, we must sometimes resort to the old and imperfect, and the new wine of spirit is poured into the old wineskins of the letter. God requires perfection, but not until the battle between spirit and flesh is fought and the victory won. To stop eating, drinking, or being clothed materially before the spiritual facts of existence are gained step by step is not legitimate. When we wait patiently on God and seek truth righteously, Spirit directs our thought and action. Imperfect human beings grasp the ultimate of spiritual perfection slowly, but to begin aright and to continue the strife of demonstrating the great problem of being is doing much. During the sensualist age, absolute divine science may not be achieved prior to the change called death, for we have not the power to demonstrate what we do not understand. The human self must be evangelized. This task God demands us to accept gracefully and to abandon as fast as practical the temporal, and to work out the spiritual, which determines the outward and actual. If you float on the quiet surface of error and are in sympathy with error, what is there to disturb the waters? What is there to strip off error's disguise? If you dare to launch your ship on the ever-agitated but healthful waters of truth, you will encounter storms. The good you do will be spoken of as evil. This is the responsibility. Be accountable. Divine science explains all cause and effect as mental, not physical. It lifts the veil of mystery from soul and body. Science shows that scientific relation of person to God and unravels the interwoven ambiguities of being, setting free the imprisoned thought. In divine science, the universe, including individuals, is spiritual, harmonious, and eternal.